Hey you guys, Irene Lyon here and welcome to this video. Thank you for watching. Now, if you've seen the title of this video, the word anger is most likely in it. Now, I always film my videos before I title them, just because that's how I fly. And I want to talk about anger. I'm holding up a book right now, or I have a book in my hands. The reason I want to talk about anger is because, well, first of all, I keep seeing all these memes and quotes that talk about, you know, getting rid of our anger and being compassionate and putting love and light towards that aggression and anger and all this stuff that we're trying to do in our world to be more compassionate and heal. And while I believe compassion is very important, as is empathy, when we don't learn how to be with our anger and process it and metabolize it and work with it, we get sick. And it is one of the hardest things for people in the Western world, folks who are well-meaning and good, to understand why would I want to feel anger and why would I want to express it and work with it. So I'm going to read a passage. This is from When the Body Says No, hopefully you can see that, by Dr. Gabor, Maté, one of my kind of heroes in the medical world. And this is the end of his books, the 7 A's of healing. And the third A is anger. And he writes here, quoting Woody Allen, "I never get angry. I grow a tumor instead." So throughout this book, he writes, "We have seen the truth of the droll remark in numerous studies of cancer patients. We have also seen that the repression of anger is a major risk factor for disease because it increases physiological stress on the organism." So the repression of anger. So here's what I want you to think of. This is the best way to describe it. If you think about a mama bear, I grew up with bears, seeing them in my backyard up in Whistler, cubs, all that sort of thing. If you were to approach a bear or come across a bear with her cubs, she will not be happy. She will mount up a survival response to protect her young. That's her job, right? If she was to not do that, something would be wrong. Something would be off, right? As a mammal, she understands this need to bond and protect and nurture her young. But because she's not a human with a very advanced neocortex, there's nothing that says, I probably shouldn't growl at this passerby because I might look a little too mean. Or I don't want to be seen as this ugly, grimacing, mean bear. She doesn't think that. She works with her physiology. She feels it. She feels a threat. She responds. Us as humans, we are mammals. We have got the same biological emotions as other mammals: joy, sadness, surprise, disgust, fear, anger. We need to be able to experience, emit, and process all these emotions. So the reason I'm filming this right now is I've had lots of people in my practice that come in and see me. Many of them have chronic conditions, things like fibromyalgia, depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, digestive problems, trouble just having energy, trouble moving forward in their lives. The list is long. And two things either happen when I start to question them about emotions, or I start to understand their physiology and I see tightness in the jaw, tightness in the chest, these sorts of things, trouble setting boundaries and limits in their either peer group, in their relationships with their children. So either two things. They either never saw their parents in a healthy way fighting. So either there was no fighting, no emotion, but not even the showing of affection, so nothing, like just complete flatline emotional affect in the family. So that's one very common thing that has occurred or occurs in our Western society of industrialization and what we would call civilized. And then there's the flip side, or the other end of the spectrum, which is families who do not know how to work with and be with their anger and aggression in a healthy way. And often that comes out in extreme violence, rage, horrible, horrible, toxic abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, or emotional. And they see the anger, or they had an imprint of it, of highly, highly threatening, scary. Therefore, they don't want to emit any of it because they don't want to be like their families. It was too painful. It was traumatic. So what often occurs is these people, these adults who just want to heal, they are uncomfortable tapping into their anger, into their healthy aggression. And healthy aggression and anger is biological, it's emotive, it's our life force. And one of my mentors, Peter Levine, has often talked about this, and I've worked with him in master classes and workshops. And when we suppress our anger, when we repress it down, it stunts and limits our life force energy. It literally shuts us down. Over time, if we keep doing this, it eventually leads to depression and other forms of physiological diseases, just as Gabor Maté said in that passage I just read you. Diseases of the physiology where things start to shut down, they start to slow down, and we can't get the healthy oxygen and blood to perfuse that area so that it can either bring nutrients or take away waste products. Be sure to watch one of my other videos. I will post it somewhere here or below, on how chronic conditions occur, how chronic illness occurs. And it has to do with our fight-flight energy being up really high, but then our parasympathetic shutdown energy also being on high, and then they cross over, and then that's where you create a chronic illness. All right, so make sure you watch that, because that'll explain to you what occurs when we stay stuck in our fight flight, but we're also stuck in our shutdown, which is what occurs. Think about it. Fight, flight. Think about that mama bear. She wants to fight. She wants to protect. She wants to get her cub away. If she didn't do that, she would put herself into a shutdown response, right? She wouldn't allow herself to express. And then that's where things go wrong. In the wild, animals just express the fight, flight. They get it over with. Yes, someone might end up getting killed, but that's the way it is out in the wild. The trouble with us humans is we have this conundrum where we have created civilized society, and we cannot go out and be barbaric and destroy everything that is in our path. What we've seen recently and throughout our worlds and years is that we have war, and we have violence, and we have mass shootings, and we have parents that brutally hurt and abuse their children. It is epidemic. Epidemic. I'll post some other vlogs for you to watch on this topic, but why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do we hurt others? And the reason is, I believe, from what I've seen, we have not taught our population how to feel these energies and work with them. We've only taught them how to suppress them down and pretend everything is fine. I'm fine, right? No, I'm not angry, even though inside there's this rage wanting to burst out. When we do that enough, we set up, as I've said, this toxic high pressure in the system, and then something will happen and we'll snap, literally. We'll snap, right? People that, I know this is a terrible visual, but people that go in and create these situations of mass shootings, they're not in their higher brain. There's no way in hell someone who is in good human relation and empathy, social engagement, it's a part of our parasympathetic nervous system that wants to connect and be with others and love and listen. People that are doing these things, they are not in that part of their nervous system. They are in either the fight, flight, or the parasympathetic system that is in shutdown where you don't feel, right? That's the situation that they're in. And so they act out these violent hate crimes because they don't know how to express and move this anger out of their systems. chances are there was a time in their life where something was done very wrong to them, where they were wronged, where they were abused, where they weren't allowed to express, and they internalized it. And then at some point down the line, they crack, they have to get it out, or in other cases, they end up with a very severe illness. So, bottom line, anger is essential. We don't want to put on a happy face when we feel angry. We actually want to notice it, be with it, learn what to do with it, and then move forward. The trouble is that we have suppressed from very young age children to not feel their anger because we think it's wrong, we think it's bad, and it's not, right? It's not. And the reason why parents tend to do that, sorry parents, but it's kind of true, is because you weren't shown how to do it yourself. It's this cycle. We have to break the cycle. We have to break it. If we don't break it, we're just going to keep this cycle of trauma continuing over and over. We're going to keep producing societies where we repress. The good thing is I'm starting to see clients in their 20s and 30s who are realizing that they want to stop these cycles. They want to stop the trauma responses, the generational trauma that's been embedded literally in their genetics. They're wanting to stop it because they don't want to do it anymore, and they see the impact on the global picture. Now, again, somewhere around this video, if you're not watching this video on my YouTube channel, or if you're watching this in Facebook, go to my YouTube channel. Underneath it, I'm going to post in the Show More section other articles that I've written on the topic of anger and hate and violence and how to unfrustrate frustration. Some articles that my husband Seth Lyon has written that really explains a little bit more about this, and some exercises that you can do to start to get this moving. The one thing that I will caution you with is if you're listening to this and you're saying, I'm a compassionate, loving person, there's no way I can be angry. You gotta get over that. You gotta get over that. Our biology, if it's in that fight flight, it will drive the front of our bus, and you can put on as much love and light and peace and all the stuff that comes with that, right, into the system. But if that system has unresolved anger and aggression that never got out, you will have a tight jaw. You will have trouble with anxiety. You will get sick later down the road, just as Gabor Maté talked about in his book. I highly recommend that book. I'll also link it below. So know that you're a human being. You're an animal human being that has these impulses that need to get out. If you were ever wronged or harmed, even just emotionally or verbally, and you held it back, not good. That stuff is still sitting in there. Time does not heal these wounds, okay? All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that. As you can see, I am very passionate about this topic. It is not taught, and we need to really learn it. So if you want to learn more about this for yourself, for those that maybe you work with in your own practices, if you're not at my YouTube channel, head over there and check out my links, or you can head over to my website, irenelyon.com, sign up for my email updates, and check out the other programs that I offer throughout the year and a few times a year. Take very good care, and we will see you next time.